Hey guys, welcome to Priceless B Movies. I'm your host, Colin Price. And man, it has been forever since I've done one of these videos. I know the last one I did was just a couple months ago promoting my book, Red Light and Other Tales. Um, but man, it's been a while since I've done a review. Life's just been crazy the last couple of months. Actually, last couple of months, more like almost a year. My wife and I have been moving around a lot. We are finally getting settled in our new place. You can see we've been trying to decorate. You can see we pulled out of storage, hoping I can make this kind of new office slash place to record these reviews and do a lot of my writing. As you can see, we have a lot of stuff that we had to unearth and put up on the walls. But enough about that. It's great to be back. It's great to be recording these videos again. I'm hoping I can get back to doing them much more often now. Wanted to post this video, the first review I'm going to do that I've done in a while, for Joker, the new Joaquin Phoenix movie directed by Todd Phillips. Wow, what a movie. But before I get to that, I do want to take another second to plug my book again. It's called Red Light and Other Tales. You can find it on Amazon as an ebook or in paperback or hardcover. You can also find it on barnesandnoble.com, walmart.com. You can find it a bunch of places, especially if you follow my Facebook group. I've plugged it a couple of times already. But getting some good feedback on it. Couldn't be happier that it's done and that it's out there. But now, moving on, the main event, Joker. Joker, as I already said, is directed by Todd Phillips, the guy who made Old School and the Hangover movies. I never would have expected this kind of movie from him. But man, I'm still buzzed. I mean, we just got out of the theater. My wife and I just got out of the theater maybe an hour ago, maybe. And it's just a blur. It's just a whirlwind in my head of these images, these scenarios, the acting, the cinematography. This was an incredible film. It's no surprise to me at all, having seen it now, that this is being talked about as one of the biggest and best movies of the year. Couple of things I want to get out of the way before I go too much into the movie. I know there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of political discussion about this movie, about kind of the stuff that it depicts. Having seen it, I don't know if I really have an opinion either way about whether or not I think that the movie is potentially harmful or the movie is, I've always kind of been one of those people who thought, a movie or a video game, song, whatever, is not going to trigger someone to go shoot a bunch of people. I really don't think that's how that works. I just feel like if that was the case, it would happen far more often than it does. I do believe there are some people who use stuff like that as an excuse for things that they've done, but I don't believe it actually has that kind of effect. That being said, I do understand why people are scared of this movie. I mean, when Lissa and I were at the theater, there was an armed guard there. I've never seen that in a theater before. There was an armed guard there actively checking people out who were going into this movie. The film is going to carry a lot of weight. It's going to divide a lot of people. It's already divided a lot of people. I don't think I've seen this low of a Rotten Tomatoes score on what I would consider to be a genuine masterpiece in a long time. I think that a lot of people are flat out afraid of this movie, and I do kind of get it now that I've seen it. Getting to the plot, Joker stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck. He's a guy, he's got a lot of issues, man. That's just the simplest way to put it. He's got a lot of issues. When the movie starts, he's already pretty low in life. And this is a guy who's on a number of medications. He has to carry around a card with him to hand out to people and explain himself, because he also suffers from uncontrollable fits of laughter. It's kind of an interesting take on the Joker laugh. In most mediums, you'd think, oh, he's laughing because he genuinely thinks whatever he's doing is funny. In this movie, he's laughing because he can't help it. And there are scenes in the movie that are painful to watch as Joaquin Phoenix is laughing literally so hard. Sometimes you hear something so funny and you buckle over and your chest and your sides hurt and your throat hurts because you're laughing so hard. And you see this guy is in almost perpetual agony whenever he has these fits. It's really hard to watch. And, Phoenix just walks away with this whole movie. It really is a terrific showcase for his talents. But getting further into the plot, Arthur is, like I said, he's down in life. There aren't too many great things about the life that he's living. I don't think too many people would look at this guy and envy it. The world's kind of beaten him down, emotionally, physically, mentally, trying so hard not to go into plot points and like explain exactly what's wrong with his life, because I really do feel like someone should watch this movie not knowing a whole lot about it. But he lives with his mother, and he's kind of her caretaker. She's not doing so well herself. She's ill. She kind of rambles about certain things. She only wants to talk about certain things almost all the time. One of these things she really wants to talk about is Thomas Wayne, who everyone who knows Batman, knows that Thomas Wayne is Bruce Wayne's father. In this movie, uh, let's just say he's not as great a guy as he typically is in the source material and in other adaptations of the source material. Um, but Arthur lives with his mother, taking care of his mother. He has a job as a street clown, like as a performer. He does clown gigs, basically. But just one domino falls, then another domino falls, then they just all start falling. You get this very early Scorsese-esque descent into madness that he goes through, and eventually, as we all know, he's going to come out of the end of the movie as the Joker. Now, as almost anybody who knows me already knows, I love the Joker. I love the character. He's bar none, my favorite villain of all time in any medium. Anytime that I hear that something's going to feature the Joker, it automatically has my interest, whether it's a cartoon, a game, a movie. Over the years, we've had, I grew up Jack Nicholson's Batman. Tim Burton's Batman was like the first live action movie I ever saw. I was like 4 when that came out, and I was blown away by Jack Nicholson. What a scary guy that he was to anyone under the age of 10 or 11 years old. That's the Joker. The Joker's supposed to be scary, but he is supposed to be funny too. There's all these aspects of the character that make him really intriguing to a kid or to anyone who is able to find humor in something dark. I think that's really the appeal of the character. But as everyone knows, there was Nicholson. There was Cesar Romero's take in the Adam West TV show. There was Heath Ledger's portrayal in The Dark Knight, which most people think is, the greatest portrayal of the Joker ever. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I thought he was terrific. But then there was Jared Leto's divisive take that I understood. I felt like I was a lot more okay with it than other people were, but I did understand some of the complaints, mostly having to do with his appearance. But at the same time, I don't think I was as prepared for this movie as I really felt I was. I mean, the more I think about this movie, and now that it's starting to get a little clearer in my head, and I'm starting to really reflect on it, one of the things I think is really impressive about it, what really threw me off, is that, as a Joker fan, when the trailers for this movie started to come out, I remember watching it thinking, oh, this could be really good. He's going to be this guy, and some terrible stuff is going to happen to him. He's going to go nuts. He's going to become the Joker, and we're going to have this, huge, third act of all kinds of manic zaniness, and it's going to be so much fun. They're going to be like, he's the Joker, finally, and No. No, fuck no. Because what really struck me about this movie is the whole movie, I don't want to say, I don't want to say that you sympathize with the character, but you totally get why a person would snap under the things he has to endure. And some of the scenes in this movie, in the first half of this movie, are so harsh and so sad and so upsetting that by the time that he dons the costume and by the time that he has fully embraced this persona, you feel worse for him than you did at the beginning of the movie, because you know that now he's never coming back. He's never going to have that hope again. He's never going to. So the movie doesn't treat his transformation into the Joker as something that you should applaud or something that you should be really happy that he's found himself. It treats it as this is the ultimate tragedy. There's no going back for him. This guy's forever just lost. And in that sense, and I really feel like this is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, because some movies you watch and you think this is scary because this could happen to somebody. This could really be a thing. What's scary about the Joker is this does happen to people. This is real. This is not in the sense that everyone's going to paint their face, call themselves the Joker, and shoot a bunch of people, although obviously that has happened. But in the sense that in the world we live in, you can see how easily society and just a certain level of unfairness can get a person to the point of, you know what, fuck everything. And that's what's so terrifying about Joker. You never, if Joaquin Phoenix, first of all, if he doesn't get an Oscar, there's no justice in this world. But Joaquin Phoenix never, ever, even when he's painted up, even when he's full Joker, he is never playing it like a comic book villain. He's still Arthur. He is still this guy who is just, he's at this point and he doesn't know how to get back. And he still retains humanity all the way to a point. And when you finally see that drop away from him, the movie is just, you're not sure how to react to it. I'm still not sure how to react to it. I almost feel like I have to see it a couple more times for it to bring a real reaction out of me and for it to click in my head what has actually concluded this character's journey. Gonna go ahead and give Joker 4 out of 4 stars. That shouldn't really be a surprise to anybody. Not gonna lie, this is a total ego thing, but a couple years ago, and a lot of people know this, I was making my own Joker origin movie, and it was nothing like this. It was much more of a straight crime story, and much more of a straight, now I am bowing to the masters here. Joker is an incredible film. I can't wait to see this again, but I will say that just because I loved it does not mean other people will. And I can definitely see this movie and opinions of this movie starting arguments. I can see opinions of this movie starting very heated, we'll just say debates, the kindest word I can think of. This is not a movie that's going to please everyone. And parents out there, please do not take your kids to this movie thinking it's a Batman movie. There's no Batman in this. There's nothing. I don't want to meet the parents who would take their kids to see this movie. I think that thought is almost more frightening than anything in the film itself. Also, and before I wrap up this review, because I just realized I never brought it up, the supporting cast, De Niro, Zazie Beetz, even Shea Wingham, who I spotted as a cop. These characters, they don't really have a lot of screen time, but they really do add to it because they feel so outside of Joaquin Phoenix's character. The supporting cast really has to be commended because even though they don't have as much to do, and you could argue, oh, they're just in the background to Phoenix and he outshines them all as an actor, that's kind of important because a movie like this shouldn't be portraying anyone other than the Joker. It should be about how he sees the world more than it is about how the world actually is. So I'm glad that they reduced a lot of these parts to just a couple of scenes or a couple of lines of dialogue, because I think that if they made the supporting characters as important as Arthur's character, then it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't hold the same water. Hats off to Todd Phillips. Once again, old school. Come on, man. You have really matured as a filmmaker, and I am really happy to say that The Joker is everything that I wanted it to be and more. So that's my review of Joker. Stay tuned. Now that, like I said, now that I'm starting to get settled in again, and now that the book's selling, everything is finally a little more stabilized in life, I will certainly start to do these reviews again more often. I've already got a slate of movies that I'm going to watch or rewatch and review for you guys. Thank you for watching, as always. Stay tuned for more Priceless B movies.